Boridar or Pranandar, every pony. This is BronyDan. It's not original, but hey, you try coming up with reality these days. Now, how many of you remember the Star Trek The Next Generation episode, I, Borg? If you aren't familiar with it, it's an episode where the crew of the Enterprise find a Borg cut off from the Collective and take it on board the ship, where it suddenly develops a sense of self, while Captain Picard feels animosity towards it since he had been assimilated by the Borg.
If you're gonna use this person...
It's not a person, damn it, it's a Borg!
I still think it is one of the best episodes, what with its message on having to embrace one's prejudice, which I think was executed in a mature manner. Now, why am I bringing this up? Well, that's because I feel that this week's episode is trying to tackle a similar thing. So let's take a look at The Times They Are a Changeling. Spoilers. We start off on the train of exposition on its way to the Crystal Empire. I call it that because that is literally what this opening section is, just recapping the audience on what has happened the previous times we've been to the Crystal Empire. Since we're on a train, there's only one person who I can think of that can explain this properly.
Thomas was puffing towards the Crystal Empire as Twilight Sparkle wanted to see her niece, Starlight Glimmer wanted to meet her friend, and Spike didn't want to get noticed by the public. Which begs the question of why did he bother to come in the first place?
Thanks for that, Ringo, much obliged.
Never call on this number again.
Okay, love you too. However, when they arrive, they find it to be deserted, until Spike takes off his disguise.
It's Spike, the brave and glorious! Why was every pony hiding? Oh, it sure looks like Princess Twilight and her pupil. But how can we be sure?
So after confirming to Shining Armor and Cadence that they are the real deal, we get more exposition that, to make a long story short, there's a changeling being spotted close to the Empire, so everything's on high alert. And Spike is given the chance to help with the Royal Guards in searching for the changeling.
You faced evil changelings before. What can you tell us?
Oh, well, they are changelings, so they can change.
Do you hear that? These monsters can look like any of us, so be on guard, guards.
Yes, sir, Patrick Warburton Pony. But Spike falls down a tunnel and does what every show does whenever there's a doppelganger in it. Rip off the Marx Brothers. Yep, we finally meet the changeling, and his name's Thorax, who appears to be the only changer that actually wants a friend, ever since his hatching. Why no other changeling has had this desire before, we'll never know, but hey, we're getting some more lore, so it's fine.
I was part of the attack on Canterlot during the royal wedding, but I'd never seen true friendship like that, and I couldn't just steal it and feed on its love.
I was also part of a search party for Queen Chrysalis's heir. Does the name Mothball ring a bell?
If I had a friend, maybe the love we shared could sustain me, but I don't think the Crystal Ponies want to be friends.
So Spike offers to go back to the Crystal Empire and speak on Thorax's behalf and try to make the ponies accept him. But of course...
everyone's a little bit racist today!
The changeling queen Chrysalis kidnapped Cadence and cast a spell on me. There's no such thing as a nice changeling.
Well, with that idea scuppered, Spike comes up with another solution. To make Thorax take the form of a pony and just casually walk on in.
I wanted to introduce you to my friend, a Crystal, Hoof. Crystal Hoof. My good friend Crystal Hoof.
Well, that isn't the dumbest name I've heard given on this show. Honestly, it does sound like something that somebody would name their child. So Spike shows Thorax around the Empire, and I have to ask, how come no one is suspecting that suddenly there's this new Crystal Pony child just walking around? I mean, to be fair, the Crystal Empire doesn't really look that big, so they're probably a very tight-knit community and knows everything about everyone, like they were living on an estate. So surely there must be someone looking at Thorax and going... So does anybody know whose kid that belongs to? Maybe he's Dirty Barry's. Nah, it can't be his missus got his tied up after the 5th one. However, when Thorax stands before Cadence and Flurryheart, he is unable to control himself and reverts back to his old form.
This changeling replaced your friend to get close to the baby. What other explanation could there be?
I don't know.
Oh, fucking twat.
So Spike decides to go back down the tunnel and apologize to Thorax for his dickishness, and decides to do the one thing that he should have done from the start.
Spike, what are you doing? Get away from that thing.
Oh god, after what happened the last time Spike sung, this is gonna be...
Would you say I'm a hero, glorious and brave?
Honestly, it's not that bad. Granted, it's not really a melody that I would go back and listen to, but, you know, Kathy Weslick's singing is very charming, and it does at least try to bring home the message of prejudice and the possibility that there might be some good and innocence in those that we could consider our enemy. Well, the song wins every pony over, and Thorax is accepted as a friend. That's all it really takes in Equestria.
Looks like you were right after all. Right about what? Friendship lessons can happen anywhere.
So that's the times they are a changeling. Does it work? Well, I do like the idea and the moral that was presented, but I feel the execution was what held it back. There seemed to be a lot of ideas the writers wanted, but because of the time constraints, it felt a little rushed to get everything in. The beginning was just recapping what we already knew, and the song at the end did feel like it was there to wrap everything up as quickly as possible. Maybe this episode would feel complete if the possibility of the changelings coming back in the season finale is true, but as of now, it's alright. It's just, again, pacing is its issue. Oh, this is BronyDan saying... No star.
I wish that I could be like, kick a ball and climb a tree like, run around with dirty knees like mine.